Hey, beautiful folks. This is Freedom Fighter. Hope everyone is doing great, magnificent today. Hope everyone has had a safe and pleasant weekend so far. This is Saturday Night Dialogues with Freedom Fighter and Jester. We're going to be breaking down some Goldilocks articles. And I don't want to fail to mention a thank you to Mini Choco. Mini Choco is one of our members he lives in Japan. And that song by Earth, Wind, and Fire that we opened up with was inspired by him. He had sent that to me during the week. He listens to our calls on recording because the time zone in Japan, he's not able to listen to our calls live. But I wanted to thank him if he listens to this recording and know that this song opening up tonight's call was really inspired by him singing that over to us. And before we open, we're going to Jester. You ready to rock and roll, young man?
I am here.
You know, I was expecting to hear a squeaky chair, but I know you're still here. There it is. It wouldn't be the same without that chair.
Right, man. It's like an icon. It's like a weenie dog without a tail.
Exactly. All right, we're going to open up with prayer very quickly, and we're going to get rocking and rolling. Father God, we thank you, as we always do. Thank you for waking us up this morning. We thank you for your love, your kindness, your grace, and we ask that you lay upon the hearts and the minds and the spirits and the tongue of Jester and myself to bring forth the message that comes from you and not from us. We ask that you bless us with your mercy, your kindness, and your grace on us as well as we bring this message tonight from the articles that Goldilocks has shared with us. We ask that you also, Father God, have mercy and grace on everyone on this call, all the members, anyone and everyone who listens to this by being live or even recorded. We ask that you even show grace and love and mercy upon those who may wish harm upon us, whether it be from jealousy, hatred, envy, whatever the low vibration or negative spirit. We want to show them love and mercy as well, because everyone is going through something. Everyone has something within themselves that they yearn for. And Jester and myself, along with Goldilocks, Wiley, and others, we are only here to serve you. It's our higher purpose and our higher calling. And we ask that you just help those that do not have the same high vibration to be able to learn from us as we share love and grace upon them the way we know that you would. We ask that you keep all of our members safe and sound. If some of them may be traveling on the highways and the roads while they're listening to this call, keep them and their families safe no matter where they are and what they're doing with their time and their lives with their families. We ask that you bless it upon us when this blessing comes to us, to do what's right by you first and foremost. And we pray in your precious name, in Jesus' name, amen. And we are going to, before we get rocking and rolling, I want to make sure that, folks, if you please remember, it's very, very, it's be very helpful for you to know a couple of things. One, Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., the Goldilocks QFS Dialogue Room is open, where we will answer questions and help you to get through some of the articles that Goldilocks shares and provides. And Jester's Place is open from 8 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, and also on Saturdays as well. Jester's Place is open sometimes at 8 p.m., an hour before this call, where he drops a lot of gems and jewels. Sometimes he and I do impromptu calls during the week too, but those aren't recorded. But we really encourage you to spend some time in Jester's place, especially in the late evenings when you may get home. Jester brings a lot of valuable information that would be extremely helpful to you. Make sure you spend some time in there. They have a lot of fun too. So I'm usually tired by that time, but I try to get in there once in a while when I can. I'm usually worn out by then. But also on Thursdays is our higher learning call with myself and Anastasia. Last night's topic, although it was Friday because the RNC was on Thursday, last night's topic was Trump, and Anastasia tapped into Trump's energy and shared some very, very insightful information with us about President Trump and his protection by angels. And then next Thursday's call, the topic will be Jesus Christ, next Thursday. So I want to share that, and we are going to rock and roll. We have two or three articles by Goldilocks that we're going to touch on tonight. And the first one is actually not an article. It's really more of a statement by Goldilocks that Goldilocks put out earlier today. And it encompasses what the articles are that we're going to touch on tonight. One is going to be about cloud-based technology. Understand and know that the quantum financial system and the satellites are in the cloud. The system is cloud-based. Our new financial system is going to be cloud-based. And so we're going to touch on that and what the U.S. Treasury is actually in the process of doing as it pertains to cloud-based technology and the banking system on cloud-based technology. We're going to touch on also the nationalization of the banks, which is something that Jester has been sharing with us for quite some time. And there are things that Goldilocks, and I want you all to really understand the fortunate and the blessing that it is to have Jester with his information and contacts with the Treasury and the knowledge that he obtains from those relationships that literally coincide with a lot of the information that Goldilocks is getting and sharing from a research and technical standpoint. So when you have Goldilocks and both Jester, two different entities that are getting some of the same information from different areas, and they're congruent, this is probably never really even happened before. But a lot of the information that Jester has been sharing, and I know I probably sound like a broken record, having said a lot of this before, but it's just the truth, is he's been saying these things about the new system for 12, 13 plus years. And a lot of what he has been sharing is coming into fruition and manifesting now and has. And a lot of that is what Goldilocks is sharing in articles recently as well. So we're going to touch on that. And last but not least, tonight, we're going to touch on a sensitive topic. And it's not anything that you all have to, we don't share information for you all to invest in any asset, not even cryptocurrency, paper currency, precious metals. It doesn't matter to us what you choose to invest in, but it's just the relevant information that pertains to the investments that we all have related to the GCR and this reset. And it just so happens to be that large in part of that is Bitcoin is related to that. There's no coincidence that President Trump is now accepting donations from certain cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin. There's no coincidence that his son has deemed his father the Bitcoin president. You do not have to invest in Bitcoin. We do not care. whether you do or you don't. It's about being educated to understand the utility of it, the use case of it, what it's used for, and how it does pertain to the paper currencies we have and how important it is. And we will touch on that. I know it's a sensitive topic because the propaganda machine has done a masterful job in demonizing it. But we encourage you to open your minds and open your hearts to receive the information. What you choose to do with it is totally up to you. All right. We're going to jump into the first piece of information by Goldilocks. And Goldilocks wrote this today. And this is from a spiritual, understand that Goldilocks operates, and we spoke earlier about vibrations, higher vibration. Goldilocks is communicating here from a very high frequency and vibration, from a very high spiritual perspective. Understand that. I want to preface that to understand this. Goldilocks says last night around my 8 posting in this room, 8 o'clock, I began sharing with you how we are transitioning into a cloud-based financial structure in the banking system. I would encourage you to read each of these sections before you get to this particular article, because it's going to be the last one I write for the day. And this was this morning. It will give you an idea how we are evolving as a global economy into a financial system no longer made with human hands. Think of the clouds. Think of a higher vibration. Think of something beyond the normal human understanding. Okay? The fact is, we are being guided into a system of behavior with qualities of existence that are standardized and utilized to promote a particular character within us that would become a launching point into spirit. So this is, Goldilocks has really wrote this from a higher frequency. In fact, share with me that this came as a download when writing this. That means it's coming from a higher place. Our movement into a financial infrastructure based upon a willingness to utilize artificial intelligence to connect our databases around the world collectively engages the higher aspects of our being. This transition of our monetary system is far more than any of us have ever realized, and we will be able to comprehend in and of ourselves. The new digital asset-based trading system takes us to a place whereby what comes through us and not from us becomes a reality through our willingness to work with the creative forces, AI included, around us and above us, and especially within us. The new digital asset-based trading system. This is the quantum financial system Goldilocks is referring to. So just think, the quantum financial system, which are quantum computers in space. Why space? Why? Because it's a cloud. We're going to get into cloud-based. Clouds, you look up into the clouds, it's unlimited. It's infinite. Space is infinite. The clouds are infinite. So we're talking about, and we're going to talk about cloud-based technology that's going to be running our financial system. And actually it does already. So the new quantum financial system takes us to a place whereby what comes through us and not from us becomes a reality through our willingness to work with the creative forces. This all comes from a higher frequency, folks. Around us and above us, and especially within us. Freedom Fighter and Jester will be on a call tonight to explain some of these articles from last night, meaning Friday, and this morning, meaning today. I would encourage you to go deeper with this information as it's being presented from us, in front of us. This is a very spiritually grounded message from Goldilocks. And this was one of the last posts by Goldilocks, but I wanted to start this off to set the tone for all of us from a higher vibration. We are in the midst of a great awakening. So the technology that is being introduced to us is to help awaken within us information and knowledge that we truly have deep within our souls and beings, but we've been distracted by a lot of propaganda and fear-based information to distract us from technology that is truly to our advantage if we open our minds to it. And so the next is going to be an article from the Department of Treasury. I'm not going to go into detail and read all of it. I'm going to touch on it. But before I do, I want to refer to Jester, and just in case if he wanted to touch on this message that Goldilocks shared from the very beginning of this call.
I mean, he locks this down pretty good, I have to admit. And, you know, the scenario that he drove through there with the, you know, how we're being guided into the future and how things are going to be determined in how things are going to work and all that. I mean, we see this as happening, you and I, differently probably than most people, I guess, and Goldilocks probably too, as a series of small events that don't necessarily seem like they tie together, but then in the backside you see that they're very well connected.
Mm-hmm.
And you report all the time on all the things that are happening with the banking system, and I think that's all part of it. And you know, if I was to say what I get out of, you know, I mean, I like this article just fine. I mean, I'm glad to bring what I can to this thing, but you know, there's nobody out there that's, you know, it's like I used to say, you know, if you want to know something about Iraq, talk to Frank 26. He's as good as they get on Iraq, but he doesn't know squat about anything else, unfortunately. You know, and he's trying to make a viewpoint based on one data point, which is okay. Now, you know, it's like Goldilocks, however, is trying to tie a system together that nobody's ever seen before. And it's difficult because I've tried to do that for years and years. You know that. And mine's the easy part because, quite frankly, it has to go a certain direction. But Goldilocks' part is the hard part because you got to tell me how it's got to get done. I mean, I can tell you how it's going to go, but you got to tell me how it's going to get done. I mean, it's kind of like saying, well, you know, how are we going to get from here to there, and we have no transportation, you know. But you guys are right now. I'm not worried. I know where we're going. I just, you know, I'm anxious to find the last little pieces of the puzzle that will fall into click. And we know that certain things have got to happen. I was talking to somebody in the room earlier tonight about, you know, well, where's the gold come from? And I mean, we can talk about all this if you like. We can talk about anything you like. I don't, you know.
Absolutely. I was hoping you would touch on that during the call as well.
I don't want to get out of line with the call direction here. And I can do this a little bit later if you want to open it up around Robin.
Absolutely. Later is definitely,
okay, sure. Let's do that then. I think that might be better. So, but as far as what you're doing now, yeah, absolutely. I'm on. I mean,
and because you touch on a lot, and I know you're, I believe you're still in the process of getting the frequencies room together, but this message is along the lines of what you touch on with frequencies as well. So,
well, you know, here's the thing. You cannot do, you know this, I'm not telling you anything, but the people can learn. You cannot, anybody out there, you cannot get where you're going if you don't have the right mindset and you don't have the right vibrational tendency, because you will beat yourself silly because you don't know how to ease into the environment.
Right.
You can't tune yourself to making yourself feel at one with the whole, well, the universe, to be honest with you. But you have to have a certain amount of confidence that it just takes a lot of what I want to call confidence in the fact that, you know, I'm in the right place, I'm with the right God, and I'm doing the right thing there, and interacting with that scenario the best I know how. You know what I mean?
Right. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Excellent. All right. So we're going to jump into in this next article, folks, by Goldilocks. And this is along the lines of what Jester was just talking about. We're talking about frequency, talking about awakening. And it's going to talk about the U.S. Department of Treasury, which is right up Jester's alley. It's going to be about the cloud-based. And I'm not going to read, and you don't have to follow the whole entire article. I'm going to touch on the beginning and the end of this particular article, but it's titled "The Treasury Department Offers Resources for Financial Firms on Secure Cloud Adoption." All right. The U.S. Department of Treasury and the Financial Services Sector Coordinating Council have made resources available to financial services firms, think about our banks, on best practices for secure cloud adoption. So again, we're talking about space, just and clouds, infinite space. Remember, as I mentioned previously, with the quantum financial system, where are the satellites? Why did Trump create this sixth branch of the military called the Space Force? Aren't they up in those clouds? The documents and resources are intended to arm financial institutions with effective practices for secure cloud adoption and operation. So we're talking about securing our information, the data in the banking system, which is securing our resources, our assets. Because once these banking institutions secure the cloud, they secure the information, it's our privacy and protection upon us within the banking system, especially after we exchange. I'll continue. These resources stem from a public-private partnership between the Financial and Banking Information Infrastructure Committee and the FSSCC. Further, the U.S. Treasury Department established the what? Cloud Executive Steering Committee in May of 2023 to help close the gaps identified in the Treasury's report on the financial services sector's adoption of what? Cloud services. The gaps include, I'm not going to read all of those, I'm going to skip down to where it says clear explanations. Clear explanations for the utility and application of the documents can be found at the U.S. Treasury website. It's referring to the information that's previously above in the italics. Clear explanations of the utility and application. The utility is the usage and application of the documents related to cloud-based technology in our banking system can be found at the U.S. Treasury website. The website also includes links to the FSCC-led output so that financial institutions, banks, can consult with them, who? The Treasury, at any part of their cloud services adoption journey and risk management process. So we have the banking institutions collaborating with the U.S. Treasury on what? Cloud-based technology and cybersecurity to do what? Protect our assets, protect our investment in the banking system. These documents are an important step forward in the what? Cloud Executive Steering Committee Group, which is the CESG's effort to make the cloud safer and more resilient within and beyond the financial services industry. What this is referring to, folks, the banking system, the U.S. Treasury securing from a higher level of frequency the clouds, securing the banking system, the protection of our assets, and of course the bank's assets within our new quantum financial system. The FBIIC is a committee consisting of 18 member organizations from across the regulatory, which is regulations, across the regulatory community at both the federal and state level. Why is that important? Because we have our national banks that are federally regulated, that are within our states, that are covered under the federal and state regulations, the federal and state levels. The Department of the Treasury's Assistant Secretary for Financial Institutions chairs the committee. Here's a link. If you so choose on your own time, you can click on the link and see what the U.S. Treasury is doing with the financial institutions regarding securing our banking system from a cloud-based perspective. The next, we're going to jump right back to that in a minute, Chester. The next under that is Goldilocks is sharing an article. You can choose to read on your own another time. The banking system, the new banking system, is moving from a hardware system to internet cloud services. That makes me wonder, Jester, about what happened yesterday with CrowdStrike, but I don't know if you want to get into that. But that just came to my mind when I was
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. We talked about that earlier. I got questions
Right.
for sure.
So here we have, and Jester, I'm going to refer to you here, where we have the Treasury and the banking system in the United States both collaborating to secure the cloud services for the our banking system, the quantum financial system. Did you want to touch on anything here, my good brother?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I guess I'm not privy to exactly what they're going to use or using or planning on using. I mean, cloud services is one of those euphemisms to me that indicates, okay, maybe that's where my photos are, and maybe I shouldn't have naked pictures there or something. But, you know what I mean? So I don't know, because it's like how we monitor this, how we secure in this, and so I've adopted kind of a little bit of a wait and see until I figure out what the heck it is they're talking about. You know what I mean? I don't know how you feel about it, but it seems like it doesn't seem like it's super definitive yet.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. We're going to jump into the nationalized. Folks, this is something this topic that these articles that Goldilocks is sharing. Again, just to remind you, this is something that Jester has been talking about, and I believe heavily shared with him by, I believe it's Mason, about the nationalizing of our banking system. And we've touched on this before. Even the U.S. debt clock, for those of you who don't know, the numbers are fed from the numbers on the U.S. debt clock is actually provided and fed by the U.S. Treasury. So here we're gonna briefly touch on the nationalizing of our banking system, which is vitally important to get to our event of the reset, because and again, I just gotta be very frank. This is something that Jester was talking about 13 years ago, about a new republic and a new system, new banking system. He always called it the republic, and then also needing a new system. And now we see that there is a process whereby banks may become nationalized. It touches on gold as well, with the nationalizing of the banks is really nationalizing also the Fed and the central bank as the Fed, all rolled up to the U.S. Treasury. So Goldilocks shares this article. You can click on the link and read it for yourself, but it's very simple, straight to the point. The new banking system is moving from a hardware system to an internet cloud base, and then the national banks. Some of the largest national banks in the U.S. include Chase Bank, Bank of America, Capital One, American Express Bank, and the U.S. Bank and Wells Fargo. And it talks about what is a national bank. Then below that, Goldilocks shares, yes, a central bank can also be called a national bank. So think of nationalizing. A central bank is a financial institution that manages a country's currency and monetary policy. In the United States, the central bank is called the Federal Reserve Bank. If you click on this link, I encourage you, if you can, click on the link. And it tells you a central bank, reserve bank, national bank, or monetary authority is an institution that manages the currency and monetary policy of a country. So we have a central bank that is also national bank. And Goldilocks asks a question. Is the banking system being nationalized at some level, partially or fully? Time will tell. Jester, I know you touched on this. I believe it was on last Saturday's call or the Saturday before about the nationalizing of the Fed.
Well, I mean, now you're going to get me started.
It doesn't
This
take
is all
much.
part. I've been trying to get my guys over on the room side for I don't know the whole week really to start getting where we're going with this whole thing and why it works the way it does and how you actually going to get some gold backed dollars. See, all this time, everybody has always listened to the gurus and said the gurus always say, "Well, make sure you get some gold backed currency, right?" Well, how are you going to do that? I mean, how's that even happen? I mean, people are like, okay, like, okay, whatever. But, you know, they don't get it because how can you get something that's not possible just by asking some stupid bank person to have it? They don't have it, people. The way this is going to happen. Okay, let's go back to Kennedy. Okay, I don't know how many of you guys know this, but when he was president, he was well aware of our situation, well aware of the central bank fiasco, and likes to do something about it. So he started with silver certificates from the UST. Well, I mean, everybody knows the aftermath of that, but the scenario is still the same, people. You're not going to get a gold-backed dollar from the Fed. The gold-backed dollar in your pocket the Federal Reserve note in your pocket right now can never be gold-backed, period. It can't happen. There's no way for that to happen. So it's got to come from somewhere else. Constitutionally, we know that that's the UST. The UST is the one that's supposed to be minting the coins and putting out the currencies. The whole scenario with this central bank BS that we've been under since 1933 is a tragedy to the American people. And so I mean, you guys are going to get out of it anyways. You're going to be forced out to a certain extent. Now we've already identified the fact that what was previously in the Fed Direct is now in the U.S. Treasury Direct. Now, that's just a euphemism for we don't have a clue what else to call it, okay? It's probably something more prettier and cuter. I mean, but the bottom line is those accounts are not at the Fed now. They're at the U.S. Treasury. We know that for a fact because people were issued credit cards from there for the COVID payments.
Pandemic.
So, yeah, I mean that came from there. So we know it's there, and so it's not a clue. It's a fact. Now, here's another thing that people get all weirded out about. Oh, we're $23 trillion in debt. I don't know if that's probably bigger than that right now. That was just the last time I looked at it. And but you guys are confused as to where that debt belongs and where it lies. See, let's assume for a second that China actually did decide to come back because they were repelled in 1998 and told to go pound salt. And China actually did come back and say, okay, now we're serious. Now we got you by the short hairs because we own all your debt, and we're going to flat out bankrupt your butt, which they could do, and which I do expect. Now everybody says, okay, well, wait, oh, it's going to go down. Jim Williams talked about this for some time, and you know that. You know that. He's talked about the Shice dollar. We got the Shice dollar in our pocket right now. That's going to remain around for a minute. Call it the retail dollar or whatever you want to call it. I don't care. It's going to stay. It's going to be here for a minute until the Treasury can get fired up and get the wholesale dollar working right. That's where everything's going to switch over. Now, your accounts, and here's where I made a very simple question very complicated, and I apologize. Because you asked me about the nationalizing the bank,
Mm-hmm.
and that is only to protect you guys. That is only to secure your accounts until they can get brought into the UST.
Mm-hmm.
Not like and I'm talking about the Fed here, because the nationalizing of the banks is just going to put them into, voila, a offshoot of the UST
UST. Mm-hmm.
to 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 continue to operate the same way they operate now with you. You're
Mm-hmm.
not going to notice much difference, or you shouldn't. Everything's
Right.
being done for you in the background.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be gold backed dollars and stuff. You're going to love it, but you're not going to know any different.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that's what I've been trying to explain to everybody all week.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of it in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
People, the last piece. If you want me to drop the last piece, I will, or we can wait till
Mm-hmm.
later and everybody tantalizing on this call, and with salivating and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah, I would love for you to do that. Please feel free, of course, because it's all in line with, like I was sharing earlier, what what you're getting from your direct relationships and contacts and spooks, as you call them, and what Goldilocks is getting from the research. They coincide. They're congruent. And you've been saying a lot of these things for so long, so it'd be, yeah, absolutely. Let's jump into the next article, which is going to be on Trump's advisor, um, proposing for Bitcoin to be a national reserve asset, because that kind of ties into everything here as well with nationalizing, and then we can jump into you bringing that forth if you don't mind. All right, here we go. All right. Oh, I need to drop this into the room, I think. Oh no, here it is. It's in there. No, it's not. So let me get it.
Yeah, I meant to say something real quick before you
Go
go any
ahead.
further.
No.
Did you
Perfect
look
time.
at the last thing you dropped in there from the Motley Fool?
Uh-huh.
Have you looked at? Did you see the little hat?
No, let me go back. Hold on. Where
Right
at?
above where it says, "What is the national bank?" See the little hat?
Oh, ah! Yep, that's your hat.
That's my hat.
That's pretty cool. I didn't even catch that. That's pretty cool. All right, so let's rock and roll. I'm gonna attach all of these and drop them in the room. All right, here we go. All right, folks. I hope you all can. There we go. It hit. All right. Trump advisor proposes using Bitcoin as national reserve asset. Oh, control your emotions, folks. Open your mind. Trump's IQ is probably higher than all of us on this call. He knows something. The crypto market sets a rally following the reports that U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump has appointed a pro-crypto running mate. It's by design. It's no coincidence. As outlined in our recent blog post, David Bailey, CEO of Bitcoin Magazine and advisor to the Trump campaign. Let me read that again. I think I read that kind of fast. Let me slow down. As outlined in our recent blog post, David Bailey, CEO of Bitcoin Magazine and advisor to the Trump campaign, is known for advocating a comprehensive Bitcoin framework under Trump's potential administration. Bailey's contribution as Trump's advisor suggests that Donald Trump is capable of securing a significant Bitcoin reserve for the U.S. Treasury by taking the 210,000 Bitcoin already held by the USA and time locking those coins for a decade. I'm going to read this one more time. Bailey's contribution as Trump's advisor suggests that Donald Trump is capable of securing a significant Bitcoin reserve for the U.S. Treasury by taking the 210,000 Bitcoin already held by the USA and time locking those coins for a decade. What that means, folks, is the possibility of the future value of each and every one of these coins. Just think, they're what, 65, almost 70,000 per now? 210,000 of them. For those that don't know, the U.S. holds the most Bitcoin out of any country. So the time locking these coins for a decade is the future value of what these coins would be in 10 years. The future value, and locking that value in, it's sort of a guarantee. There are financial instruments where you can guarantee and lock in the future forecasted value, and that is considered a financial instrument. There's value there as a result of it. So it's like, for example, if I can think of something in layman's terms, your home. If you have a house that's worth right now, let's say the house is worth 200,000, but it's projected to be worth 700,000 in 10 years. And if there was a financial instrument to lock in that value of that house in 10 years, that's going to be 700,000, even though it's worth 200 right now. Just imagine being able to take advantage of a $200,000 house that in 10 years is worth 700, but you leverage the 700,000 value of that home in the present versus in the present time is only worth 200,000. This is what this is referring to, is the possibility that they may leverage the future value of Bitcoin in the best interests of the U.S. economy. I'm going to read that again with you understanding that context. Bailey's contribution as Trump's advisor suggests that Donald Trump's capable of securing a significant Bitcoin reserve for the U.S. Treasury. Think of the reserves in the Treasury by taking 210,000 Bitcoins already held by the U.S. and time locking the value of those coins for a decade. Now I'll continue. Matthew Pines, the director of the Sentinel-1 and National Security Fellow at the Bitcoin Policy Institute, vocalized his opinion through a recent tweet stating that Trump is expected to pursue two main legal frameworks. So we're talking about Trump is considering two main regulations, legal frameworks, regulatory policies. In his tweet, Pons highlighted two potential approaches that Trump could execute, despite requiring intensive visualization of the statutory language and an exertion of unitary executive powers. Well, we know Trump has the ability to do these things when he's in office because of his ability to negotiate. These approaches would rely on courts, differential to executive prerogatives when facing legal challenges detailed below. Now I think about that. Well, if it happened to go before the Supreme Court, aren't those judges that majority of them have been appointed or nominated and placed by the president? Think about this. Legal frameworks. Leveraging the Exchange Stabilization Fund to acquire Bitcoin. Again, folks, if you're thinking in your mind, oh my God, Bitcoin's not backed by anything. It's been used for nefarious purpose, blah, blah. That propaganda has been masterful here in the U.S., but meanwhile, the U.S. holds the most Bitcoin. Open your minds. It's not about you or anyone here investing in Bitcoin. We're trying to paint the picture to understand a broader perspective. It doesn't have to be backed by anything. It's the use case, the value of it, what it's utilized for. U.S. dollar's not backed by anything. and it's been used for ages for nefarious purpose. We won't go into that, though. Trump could instruct the Treasury Secretary to use the Exchange Stabilization Fund to buy Bitcoin. By this approach, broadening the interpretation of the Gold Reserve Act of 1934 would be needed. Didn't Jester just talk about this? He talked about the gold reserve, which allows the Treasury to get involved in transactions, including foreign exchange and other financial tools. Is anyone beginning to think how this can be utilized for the benefit of the currencies we hold? Is anyone still concerned about it not being backed by anything? Pine suggests that foreign exchange could be considered as Bitcoin due to its global usage. Or think of use case, how it's used globally. It could be considered as Bitcoin due to its global usage and recognition as a sovereign currency by El Salvador, or as a security such as ETF shares, exchange traded funds, ETFs. Transactions using the Exchange Stabilization Fund must be reported to Congress quarterly, but Congress cannot prevent them. Here we go. Applying the Federal Reserve's emergency powers. Just imagine if the Federal Reserve is nationalized. Like Jester just mentioned, rolled up to the Treasury. Didn't we just get finished talking about the Treasury and Bitcoin being utilized along with the Exchange Stabilization Fund and then used as a reserve within the Treasury? All this rolled under the Treasury, even though the Federal Reserve. Previously, CNF outlined that Bernstein analysts predict crypto could become the primary Trump trade in the current election cycle as Republican prospects improve. Using his political and economic status, Pines advises that Trump could also suggest to the Federal Reserve to invoke his 13.3 emergency powers for unusual and exigent circumstances to establish a special purpose vehicle that would then purchase Bitcoin. Back in 2017, a special purpose vehicle was used, and Trump was the president and instructed. And we shared this article several months ago. When the Federal Reserve was in theory rolled up under the Treasury, and it was a special purpose vehicle that Trump used the Federal Reserve to purchase financial instruments. In the special purpose vehicle, Trump utilized BlackRock to do so. I just thought about it. I should have grabbed that article and posted it in the room, but I totally forgot. It's from 2017, when in theory the Federal Reserve was rolled up under the Treasury, and Trump was considered the chairman of the Federal Reserve because he rolled the Federal Reserve under the Treasury. It was an article written by Yahoo in Yahoo Finance, and it was outlined. But this article is just sharing and showing the legal framework and loopholes and the ability that Trump could utilize. And just think, for those who may not know, it was announced about a month ago that he will take Bitcoin and XRP and some other cryptocurrencies as donations. And of course, his son deemed his dad the Bitcoin president. Everything is connected to everything. There's a reason why the U.S. has the most Bitcoin. Again, it's not about anyone investing in it. It's to understand the usage of it. And here we have clearly, Goldilocks shared an article that outlines how it could be utilized in conjunction with foreign exchanges and utilized as to provide liquidity, cash flow to the Treasury and also in line with an approach for broadening the interpretation of the Gold Reserve Act. And so you'll be thinking about gold involved as well. I'm going to yield to my good brother Jester if you have anything you want to add to this, my good man.
Well, of course, everybody knows I like the Bitcoin anyway. We've been messing with it for a long time. So I'm not surprised, okay? I mean, the U.S. holds a bunch of Bitcoins, and people say, oh, well, like you said, they don't, it doesn't seem to have a store value. Well, that's a bunch of crap, guys. I mean, my Hummer doesn't have a store value either, unless somebody likes to give me the $15,000 I think it's worth. Somebody else might think it's worth 10.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's the same thing. It's inherently worth nothing, but it has a store of value, and Bitcoin has a store of value because that's what people are willing to pay for it. I have a Hummer because I was willing to pay the $10,000 to get it. Somebody else might like to pay 15 to get it from me. I don't know the answer to this, but that's how those things work.
Right.
And it doesn't necessarily mean there's a see. I think everybody thinks, well, there's a book value out there on Bitcoin somewhere. Well, at least there's a book value. You know what I mean? There's a book value on my Hummer, but there's not a book value on Bitcoin. It is made up by the people that are buying and selling it every day. And and we've seen it go up, we've seen it go down, we've seen it go up and down for different reasons. You know, I had the wherewithal to be able to get involved early and rack up a couple of Bitcoins. But you know, the fact of the matter is that if you'd have been paying attention back in 2013 when we first knew about this, you could have got a Bitcoin for $100. Now, you say what you want about the RV and all the other things that you're trying to invest in right now. That would have been a pretty good kill, just so you know. So, you know what I mean? But for people to say this can't happen, and I mean, Trump's a smart guy. You know this. Trump's smart, smart guy. So, if everybody thinks this is worth $75,000 or whatever it's ponying for now, then Trump's got 210,000 of those. That's a pretty good chunk of change. So, or the U.S. has got those, but that's a heck of a reserve currency right there. I mean, you do that, and it doesn't come back. One of the things that I was doing a minute ago was talking about, you know, as you were going through the whole scenario with that, and then there was the you know, the background, I guess you could say. And I've lost my screens, quite frankly. I'm irritated right now. But you know, I put some of it over in the Jester's place before I got it loose. So I'm going to go over there and look at it real quick. So the reserve assets that we were talking about, which is what we're talking about, Bitcoin being. And you can, if you want to go to Jester's place, you can read what I'm reading. That's just where I stuck it. Okay.
I'm gonna put it in the room so everyone can see it. If you're okay with that,
that's fair then. If you like to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem. I don't mind. It's no problem. I just stuck it over there. I didn't feel comfortable slapping it in your room and freaking everybody out.
No,
anyway.
You're good. It's the last two that I dropped.
Well, so you know, if you look at these reserve assets, and we know this for a little bit of time, you know, the currencies or other assets, such as gold or whatever, that can be readily transferred and used to balance international transactions and payments. Okay, well, a Bitcoin fits that description, to be honest with you. I mean, it does. Silver does. Oil does. Everything that you can readily sell for something.
Any commodity.
Exactly. So the reserve asset must be available, physical, and controlled by policymakers. Okay, which all of this is. It's all regulated. So I don't see anything wrong with that. People would say, well, it's not worth anything. Well, I beg to disagree. It's worth what it's worth, you know?
Right.
So, you know, the IMF even weighed in on that to a certain extent. The balance of payments, reserve assets, gold, transferable foreign currencies such as the USD or the euro, special drawing rights. Now, there's a good one. There's right ESF right there. So it is what it is. And don't think that they couldn't use the ESF to buy more of that.
Right, because there's an unlimited amount of money in the exchange stabilization fund.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, here's the other thing, and I don't think anybody sees the tip of this iceberg. The exchange stabilization fund could really, if they liked to, could take over the whole scenario and be the driving force for gold back in the USD,
Mm-hmm.
and taking the Fed out of action. So,
right,
it's
exactly.
as soon as somebody gets the balls to do it, I'm sure. I think
the person who I know who has the cojones to do it is Trump.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And actually, the next article by Goldilocks touches on exactly what you just went over, Jester. And I'll jump into it. Are you finished? Or I'm sorry, are you finished?
Yeah, okay. I'm good. I'm gonna get stopping place there.
All right, and then we're going to circle back for you to, after these, to go ahead and touch on the gold and the end game that you wanted to touch on, because that'll be perfect to round everything off for the evening. Here we go. Now, what Goldilocks has shared here is directly from the Commodities Future Trade Commission. The Commodities Future Trade Commission, which I'm sure many of us all know now, this is a global regulatory body for commodities for every country around the world. The Commodities Future Trade Commission. Okay? We had a discussion in the room earlier about what is a commodity, so forth and so on. So let's just jump right into it. Goldilocks says, and there's a PDF here, and I have some screenshots underneath to help you, and it actually touches on what Jester mentioned earlier about store of value. This says, can you see? Goldilocks is asking, can you see where we are heading inside the new digital economy? Bitcoin is seen as a commodity. Really? Show us proof, Goldilocks. Okay, just one moment. We're going to get to that proof. And as the old saying goes, he who holds the most gold makes all the rules. Who holds the most gold? The U.S. folks in reserves. Bitcoin has been determined to be a commodity under the Commodity Exchange Act. Really? Okay. If these actions we are reading today in this room, on this call tonight, become a reality, and it very well could happen this way, the United States will become more involved in the foreign currency exchanges process going forward than ever before. And if Bitcoin becomes a national reserve asset, what did Jeff just get finished talking about? A reserve asset? And if Bitcoin becomes a national reserve asset, as Trump is proposing, this changes the landscape of how banking is done in a way no one ever thought would happen so far. If you choose to click the PDF or not, we've kind of helped you. It's only 2 pages in that screenshot. If you click on the first screenshot, which is from the link above, the PDF that Goldilocks is sharing from the U.S. Commodities Future Trade Commission, Bitcoin Basics. You see the big old Bitcoin right there in our face. This is from the CFTC. What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is convertible virtual currency. Virtual currency is a digital representation of value that functions as a medium of exchange, a unit of account, and what did Jester just mention? A store of value. Even on the debt clock, which of course numbers come from UST, they've been showing us a store of value connected to our new asset-backed, commodity-backed currencies on an asset-backed trading system. So the question that is posed next, again, this is from the U.S. Commodities Future Trade Commission, is Bitcoin a commodity? The answer by the CFTC, yes, virtual currencies such as Bitcoin have been determined to be commodities under the Commodity Exchange Act. So here we have a legal framework, a regulatory act that's been put into place that deems Bitcoin a commodity by the Commodity Exchange Act. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, for all these years, the propaganda of Bitcoin being a bunch of different things that just whatever people want to say. Meanwhile, a lot of the same machine, the propaganda machine, enjoy putting out the fear so that people can sell it, sell their Bitcoin, or just not buy it, because what many don't know, there's only a limited supply. It's not infinite. So when something is about supply and demand, if there is limited supply, there's higher demand, so higher value in such an asset or in such a commodity. There's only but so much. There's no more Bitcoin is going to be mined and created, so far as we know now. So that store of value, when the question, this is from the Commodities Future Trade Commission. This is not from gurufufu.com. This is not from some Patriot website. This is not from some hired pundit that's on a news outlet bashing Bitcoin for the last so many years. This is from the Commodities Future Trade Commission, a legal framework that regulates laws in our country. What is a Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a convertible virtual currency. Virtual currency is a digital representation of value that functions as a medium exchange and unit of account, a store of value. No wonder why that brilliant man named Donald Trump may consider this to be an asset to help fund our reserves and the future value of such asset 10 years from now, to leverage that for the benefit of our country and for foreign exchange. Things that make you go, So Goldilocks then shares the question. Then there's underneath, for those that may not see, a commodity is a physical good that is used in production or trade. Commodities can be raw materials, agricultural products, energy sources, metals, or livestock and meat products. Raw materials can be corn, wheat, copper, crude oil. Agriculture products can be wheat, cattle, coffee. Energy sources, crude oil, natural gas, metals, gold, silver, aluminum, copper, platinum, palladium. And our debt clock showed us thorium. Livestock and meat products, pork. Man, there goes bacon, cattle. And guess what? Bitcoin. Goldilocks asks, what if Bitcoin becomes a national reserve asset for the United States and XRP becomes a world reserve asset for the global currency reset? Watch. I'm going to yield to my good man, Jester. I'm killing you, Smalls.
Well, I mean, hey, I can't really add much to this. I mean, you're doing an awesome job, by the way.
You've already said most of this already.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this over and over for a minute, but yeah, I hope everybody's getting what you're laying down, because this is where it's at, people. I mean, if you're not getting the basics here, then I don't know, maybe don't worry about it and then come back when it's over. I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you know, quite frankly, Freedom Fighter, here's where, your average person doesn't need to have the knowledge we have, I suppose. They don't need to have all the things that we know, but I think that they can help themselves if they do. I think that there's decisions that may be made on the fly along the way that we don't know about yet. Mm-hmm. And the more knowledgeable you are about things in reality that are going on, the better off you're going to have a chance to capitalize upon whatever you see. Right. I think that's what knowledge is all about, is being being in a position to take advantage of an opportunity. Um,
Hmm.
and obviously we already screwed that one up because you didn't buy Bitcoin for $100, did you?
I missed out. Yeah.
You know?
But folks, just understand and know that you have a you have another opportunity. We all have another opportunity. You've already taken advantage of an opportunity with paper currencies, but then there are other digital currencies and assets that are out there that you can take advantage of too. Even if when you exchange, there will be other opportunities, ground floor, and other digital assets that may is very slim, have the same possibility as future of the value of XRP in the well, that might be sooner than later. Um, but you don't have to be concerned about miss the boat on Bitcoin. What we're trying to help educate you all in how this relates to the paper currencies you have and the opportunity for maybe a few cents. Like XRP is what, 56
Right.
cents, something like that right now. That is, and we know, and it's and like Goldilocks just said, it's going to become the world reserve asset. You have and this is not nothing that is a secret. It's not something that is it's sort of speculative, but all of the facts lined up and the data lines up to show. I mean, XRP. If someone Googled the world bridge currency, Ripple and XRP is going to show up. It's going to pop up.
Yeah. Right.
So they're already telling us and forecasting what XRP is going to be. It transcends all time and space with every single bank around the world, and they're ISO compliant, ISO 222, prepared for XRP to become the world reserve asset. To where with these ISO tokens, ISO 222, they will move our commodities digitally through the banking system. It will move gold, it will move silver, it will move copper, it will move other commodities. It can't move livestock through the digital system. Can't do that just yet. Maybe in 200 years, but we're not there yet. But it moves commodities digitally through our bank system and every central bank around the world. From which, why is that important for us in the current time? Because the paper currencies we hold are from the central banks of the countries that you have the currency. So Iraq, the dinar, the CBI, the dong, the State Bank of Vietnam, Bolivar, Central Bank of Venezuela, so forth and so on. Everything is connected. Just because you may not see the dinar or dong or bolivar or whatever currency you may hold doesn't mean that when you hear about XRP or Bitcoin, that is not connected to those paper currencies that we hold, because they are. They're, they're, they're all monitored within the central banks for the paper currencies, because these are paper currencies. Our paper currencies are going to be backed by digital assets. And how are those digital assets going to move through the banking system? XRP, world reserve asset. So I'm not giving you advice, but just hoping you can open your minds to know and understand there are opportunities to not miss the boat like many have with Bitcoin. Obviously, President Trump isn't missing the boat to utilize it to our advantage with the U.S. Treasury, from which our new banking system is under, and from which our currencies and our newfound wealth are in that system. So that's my 2 cents. Keep the change. Uh, and Jester, I'm gonna yield to you, my good brother. I know you got some information you're going to share. And the floor is yours,
Well,
my good brother.
oh, I love it. Well, here's the thing. And I don't know. I can't wait to get the question and answer because I want to see if these people are actually picking this stuff up what we're laying down, and that's going to tell the tale when I start hearing the question.
Okay.
And of course, I like that anyway. So it is what it is. But, so you say Bitcoin's a commodity, and it's going to be there. I think people need to just start getting used to some of this stuff and quit questioning the obvious. Let's move on with the more important things and quit questioning what's already going down. I see a lot of people arguing about what they say, about this, that, and the other thing, and it's already done, guys. You might as well get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, as these assets line up, now, of course, a lot of this isn't going to affect us. I mean, we're like little retail peeps, This isn't going to really affect us on that wholesale end. We're going to be tracking the Shice dollar for a minute, but then after that, we're going to end up in the UST, and everything's going to be fat, dumb, and happy. But and a lot of this stuff is just it's not going to be something people notice. But you probably will because you guys are a little smarter than the average bear. You know what's going on, and so you know what to work. You know what to watch for anyway. So. When I say, okay, the part you're missing is what call it the end game, call it whatever you like, is how do you guys get your part? So now we're contracted to the UST level, and the UST is taking dinars and doing what with them? They already got contracts from the admiral about 100 years ago. He broke with the old contracts. And I mean, that's how long this has been going on. He was one of the original guys. And everybody talks about the admiral. Well, it used to be a lot more prolific. Now it's not because everybody's talking about Snake and other bullshit people like that now. And I, of course, some of the guys have stayed in place for a long time. Some of them are still lying just as much as they ever did. Some of them are still just as good as they ever were. I mean, I give credit to Frank. Frank's as good as anybody on Iraq, but anything else, forget it. Goldilocks. I'll tell you something right now. There's nobody that's picking up the little pieces of how this intertwining of things is going to work at the end than Goldilocks. Nobody else is trying to even put that together. You don't hear anybody. Talking about the articles you do. And see, here's the beauty part about that. And people don't get it. You can prove it. This is putting your money where you can prove it. That's the part I like. I always try to be good if I could prove everything I said. And sometimes it was possible, sometimes it wasn't. It wasn't possible for me to tell you guys why I told you to keep your damn jobs, but it worked out all right, and I was right. But I didn't have any proof. I didn't have an article. I didn't have, a news clip or anything that I could have told. It just, that was when back in the beginning, Duck, and I said, this is going to be a minute. They're not even going to, we got to change everything before we can go back there. We're not going to get this done overnight. This has got to be done in reverse of the way it was done to start with.
Yeah, you said it back then.
It happen, you see, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're backing off the old system. Everything's going the way we like it. The Fed's going to be out of commission. The IRS is going to be out of commission. Everything's going to be back in the constitutional awareness, and we're going to be moving in that direction, just quite frankly, nicely. So when we get the NARS at the US tree level, so everybody's like, okay, we got the UST, and how did Kennedy do that? How did Kennedy make silver certificates? Well, he had money in the UST at the time, but it wasn't a lot. But there wasn't a lot of US silver certificates made either. I mean, they were limited by the amount of assets that they had at the time, so there never was a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
After he was killed, it didn't take a minute for that to get off the street. But
Yeah.
you know, if you look at what happened there, the same thing is going to happen again. And this time, there's a lot of backing. This time, there's going to be some repatriation. And when Mason, bless his heart, I know he gets frustrated as hell with me because he keeps giving me these articles. He's got proof of it, and we intend to give it to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the weak link there. I've just been super busy in the whole ball of wax. But I'll get that over because there's a scenario there that clearly explains that any of this debt that's repatriated to the UST has to be done in gold.
Mm-hmm.
So if we take ours and give them to Iraq, and they got to pay us back, it's going to be in gold. We take it and we broker an old credit with China, and they got to pay us back for that. They got to do it in gold. So everyone wonders when I talk about the dollar refunding project. That's it right there. That's how the gold gets back to the UST. That's how you get a gold backed dollar. The gold backed dollar in the UST that has nothing to do with the one you're carrying around in your wallet right now. That's going to be the Fed dollar. And see, now let me tell you another thing. Let's do some math, just some real quick math, because this will tell you I know I'm right. Why you think I'm right? It'll tell you. It's simple logic. So you guys all have bank accounts, right? And the total accumulation of money in the U.S. is nowhere near the debt. Okay, and I would say money supply, maybe in American banks, I suppose you could say of what do you want to call it? Private citizens. And so, if you look at that number, it's much, much less of what we're trying to pony up for the debt. But we don't have to pony up the debt. It's not ours. You see what I'm saying? And so that's where I was trying to get the attention of everybody and say, you guys need to understand where the gold really is coming from, why it's coming to there, and what it's going to be done when it gets there. Because now you're a sovereign citizen. Now you own part of that. So when the debt clock says it's a stock, it's a bond, and invest, well, what did it say? It didn't say invest in the U.S. It said own a part of the U.S., right? You guys saw that, right?
Yep, I'm going to grab it.
That's what it all meant. That's what that meant.
It's a stock, it's a bond, it's a bankless revolution.
Yeah, there you go. Now here, okay, well, let me talk about the bankless revolution. We talked about that for a second. But bankless revolution, everybody says, okay, we're going digital. Well, that's not exactly true. Remember when I told you that the banks were getting nationalized? Now we're bankless. Well, we got the UST, and they're running the show, and they're running satellites of themselves through the nationalization of the banks that you have your money in anyway, because quite frankly, if they do that, then they don't have to reinvent the wheel. They can back your little money, your $12 saving account. It is what it is. But, if you look at it from the standpoint of what is actually happening now, we got to, and of course, Jim Willie's, hollering already, but, the Chinese are on the way. I mean, they're going to, and I don't know if they're going to do this under the radar and maybe some BS like the Fed goes insolvent some way and you read about it in the paper and you go, oh my goodness, how'd that happen? And the U.S. Tree's taken over and everything's all lovely and blah, blah, blah. It's going to look like that because for everybody else, it's got to make sense. You know what I mean?
Right.
They can't be freaking everybody out. Oh, that's money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
If they lost their money, we're going to have a hell of a mess on our hands. But anyway, I believe that they got this under control, and I think they got it well in hand and well underway for that matter. So, you guys, there's nothing more to know. There's no magic on top of this. I've told you how it all works, all the way down to you getting your money. So I'm glad to answer
Hmm.
any questions you like to do. But
Okay.
I'm going to back over to you, big guy, because quite frankly,
Okay.
that's all I
All right. Yeah. Look, you ready to open up for some Q&A?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. Cool. Cool. Now I know we should have several questions, especially talking about right to the accounts, to people's bank accounts. So, folks, just please raise your hand. We will come to you and get you on to answer your
And tell
questions.
them I'll try to be nice, okay? So don't be
All
scared.
right. All right. All right. CWA, you can unmute.
Hey everybody.
How you doing?
Um Good. How are y'all?
We're doing good, thank you.
I just wanted to I saw an article about Trump speaking at the Bitcoin convention or conference, I guess it is, in Nashville and on July 27th. I don't know if y'all saw that or but I thought that would be kind of interesting maybe to listen to since we're talking
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Um yeah, and it just said that in the article it said that he supported the Bitcoin industry in May. He said that in May of 2024, and was advocating for us, the U.S., to have the rest of the Bitcoin here. So I thought
Hmm.
that was interesting with what you were sharing tonight. I didn't know if you had anything else on that or what you thought about that.
No, yeah. I'm familiar with that conference. But yeah, it's very interesting, and I'm glad to know that you're paying attention because if we can connect the dots and see, just imagine. Do you think this is a rhetorical question, but I'm gonna ask you anyway because you'll be able to help a lot of other people who are listening. Do you think, and this is your opinion, there's no right or wrong answer. Do you think that Trump would be so pro Bitcoin, speak at a conference, accept Bitcoin as donations for a campaign? I'm thinking a bunch of questions. I'm like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't like people to ask me 5 questions, uh, but I know what it feels like because it's rhetorical. And then also, do you think that one of Trump's top advisors, which is a former CEO of Bitcoin Mag, do you think that President Trump would do all of this if Bitcoin was worthless, backed by nothing?
Actually,
No.
no way. I mean, he always has a
Nefarious.
yeah, he always has a purpose to what
Mm-hmm.
he's doing. And we may not
Mm-hmm.
understand it all in the beginning, but like you said, if you tie that article into what like why would he go to a conference? Like that doesn't make any sense
Mm-hmm.
if there wasn't something more on the stage for that.
Right.
Yeah, like why would he waste his time? That it wouldn't
Right.
make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he advocates for it. He sees that the growth, the US industry, it needs to go in that direction. So yeah.
Oh my Lord! Listen to this. Watch this. I'm glad you brought this up. I'm looking at a report from CNBC 2 days ago, July 18th. I'm gonna drop this in the room. Hold, let me just read it. Let me drop this in the room so everyone can see this for themselves with your own eyes, folks. What this says, and this is several articles. Did it come into the room?
Yes,
Check
I think
this
so.
out.
Yeah.
Did it drop? Okay. Trump Bitcoin conference fundraiser tickets top at 844,600 for Nashville Sorry. Now, folks, this is not money raised. This is not 844,000 raised for the conference. No, 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 no,
Mm-hmm.
no, no, no. Look at the first bullet point under key points. It says Donald Trump is hosting a campaign fundraiser in Nashville, Tennessee, and the top ticket is going for how much?
$844,600.
Per
Yeah.
what?
Per person.
800, almost $850,000 per person at Trump Bitcoin conference fundraiser.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's interesting.
Almost 850,000 per person. This is going to be huge. And you would imagine.
And then if you go down, Freedom Fighter, it says in there, according to an invitation shared by CNBC, that July 27th event will coincide with Trump's expected keynote speech at the conference. So, yeah.
The country's biggest gathering of cryptocurrency fans. Oh, my Lord.
Yeah.
But Bitcoin's not backed by nothing. It's been used for nefarious purpose for years.
Yeah, I don't think Trump would go nefarious.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. All right. Well, I just wanted to share that. I know other people would probably want to speak, but
thank you.
all right. Y'all have a great one.
All right, you too. Lady Faith, you can unmute. And there you go.
Hey, Freedom Fighter. How are you?
Good.
Good.
And Jester's here with me. I don't know if you know it.
And Jester, yes, sir. Jester even said he was going to be nice, so I appreciate that.
That's hard for him to do.
Yeah, he's just so quick with it, like years ahead of us all. Okay, so I'm brand new to the crypto world, but you were speaking about the quantum financial system. Mm-hmm. So my question is, if I have a QFS wallet account, which I do, that means I'm already backed up in the cloud. Is that correct?
When you say you have a QFS wallet account,
mm-hmm.
What are you? Can you be like? What's the name? QFS. What is a QFS wallet account?
We need to address this right now. Anyhow, this is the bullshit that the purveyors of the cloned accounts are putting on the people. Freedom fighters.
That's why I asked the rhetorical question. But go ahead, Jester. You're more straight to the point. Go ahead. Yes.
Okay, I'm just saying they're I was going to say something on the call tonight anyway at the end, but now that we got into the middle of it, might as well get it over with. For all of you guys out there, please know that Freedom Fighter or me or any of our admins would never ever DM you and ask you for money.
Thank you.
That ain't happening.
Yes.
We're not trying to sell this QFS wallet thing, and quite frankly, I'll be honest with you, I have not checked this out, but there's a scammy undertone to the whole thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In the way they're doing it. If this was a legitimate scenario, they'd be doing it differently, in my opinion. So I don't know what the story is. I had one of my friends that about got sucked into it, and finally, just right at the end, decided to not do it and call me instead. And I was like, oh hell, yeah, you don't need to be doing that. That's for sure. And so, any of you guys that gets DM'd by me or Freedom Fighter, either one, and I have understood that other people have already been DM'd by somebody that's wearing my face. Much of that disturbs me. But, please don't fall for that crap, guys. Please don't let yourself get taken in by the lure of free stuff. Okay? Don't do it.
Well, they did try the scammers. It was one with your name, Jester, and one with yours, Freedom Fighter. And, I listened to him a couple of lines and I got out of there. Another friend, they didn't mention it to me, but I wasn't on there with them long enough that maybe they could have. I don't know. But a friend of mine that is in the crypto, he's the one that said, here, do this. And I haven't been able to talk to him to figure it all out yet or to get other things. I just opened the account with one BNB, crypto, and nobody else has said anything else. And I'm, doing research and trying to figure it out. But the website itself says cloud-based, but it could be phony too. I don't know.
To be honest with you, there's no way we can make an answer to your question because we don't have a clue either. I don't. I couldn't answer the question. I haven't been able to vet it. So If I can't do that, then I'm not going to be able to answer anything.
Yeah, if you're questioning it, Lady Faith, that tells you right there if you might have some reservations. It doesn't sound to me. I could be wrong. It doesn't sound and a QFS. When I hear people mentioning these QFS accounts and wallets, it doesn't sound legitimate. I mean, there's no. I haven't seen any legitimate one or heard of one.
Okay.
Your
That
bank account and
answers
the
my
new
question
financial.
right there.
Yeah, because your bank account and the new financial system that's going to be your account. That's going to be you're going to become the bank. You're going to become your own bank. You don't need no quote unquote. I just when I hear that I hear scam, QFS account, QFS wallet.
Yeah.
I hear that's what I hear scam.
Well, I haven't lost anything yet. What I put in there is still there. Nobody's got access to it or anything. And it wasn't the scammers that sent me there. But again, they probably would have tried to if I'd have stayed on the line with them.
Yeah, it just doesn't sound.
Yeah. Okay.
I would be.
Maybe my friend got scammed.
It probably so, and he just may not know any better. But I'm. If it was me, I'll just say it like this: if it was me, I wouldn't. Based on my understanding of the system, I wouldn't get into anything like that. That's just me, and I would caution you. I would encourage you to be careful. I can't tell you what to do. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. That's why I asked. I trust you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Alrighty. Thank you, young lady.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, I see you, William B., and then Elisa will come to you. And then Miss Priss, we will come to you. William, you can unmute. William B.
All right. How you guys doing?
How's it good? How are you?
I'm good. Before I ask my question, President Trump has in the past called Bitcoin a scam. I don't know what swayed his change to it.
What's your question?
I said in the past, President Trump has called Bitcoin a scam. I don't know what has swayed his change to it.
Uh-huh.
So my question is, if XRP is going to be the world reserve currency, where does that put all the other 7 ISO compliant coins?
They all have different utility usages.
Right, but Stellar is along the same lines as XRP.
And doesn't XRP coincide with Stellar as well?
Well, that's what I said. It's a spinoff of XRP.
Okay.
So, with that being said, wouldn't Bitcoin have to be ISO compliant?
Why would it?
Well, the Fed now is ISO compliant, correct? And if it's going to be a national reserve currency, it would have to be ISO compliant.
Possibly.
So you guys don't have any idea where the other 7 coins are going to fall into this?
When you say all the other 7 coins are going to fall under what?
Where they're going to fall into the reserve currencies and stuff.
No.
I know they're all assets.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Well, XRP is a bridge currency, and it has a more use case scenario than the other ISO tokens.
Correct. I'm a big XRP holder, so that I understand that.
So, and you're asking where the other 7 going to fall?
Yeah.
Let me make sure I understand your question. Are you asking what they're going to be used for, what their use case scenario will be?
Yeah, where are they going to fall into place at?
I don't understand your question. Fall into place of what? Are you?
I understand they have all different use case scenarios. My question is, where is that going to put them as far as XRP is? XRP is going to be the top, but then you have XLM, which everybody says XRP is going to be backed by gold, and XLM is going to be backed by silver, and then XDC is going to be backed by copper. Where does that put Quant and IOTA?
As far as what they're going to be, what's your specific question about Quant, IOTA, Cardano, HBAR?
Are they going to be backed by anything?
Don't know. Don't know.
Okay.
So, and I want to make sure that we don't continue without really getting to the crux of what you really want to know, because I don't want you to feel like your question wasn't answered. So you mentioned the various other ISO tokens. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are you wanting to find out what the others will be backed by because you know the use case scenario of XRP? What's like, if there was one specific question about them, right to the bone, deep, what would it be?
Well, the way I understand it is that Quant is the main bridge of everything.
More so than XRP?
No, XRP has a specific case use. XDC was supposed to be a bridge of currencies too. But Quant has a limited supply. And when you look at the chart where it's broken down, where all the currencies are around it, it's like a mainframe for it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand. But are you asking what will back? You did ask. Is that your main question? Is what will back the other ISO tokens besides? Because you mentioned XRP, of course. You mentioned gold, and you mentioned XLM silver and XDC copper. Are you asking what the rest? What commodities would back the rest? Is that what your main question is?
Correct.
Okay. Don't know the answer to that question.
Okay.
Don't know.
Good enough.
And I'm sorry. I don't know.
I mean, do we think Bitcoin is going to be ISO compliant if it's going to be a national reserve currency?
Don't know the answer to that question either. We do know it's a commodity. Commodity. Or have you been on the call since the beginning? I'm not sure, because if not, I can help point you to the information.
Have I been on the call since the beginning? My wife's listening, and I was listening to hers. Yes.
Oh, okay. Did you have a chance to see from the Commodities Future Trade Commission the in the room that we posted where it shows Bitcoin is a commodity by the CFTC?
Yes, I saw the article. Yes. Okay.
So now I don't want to let you go unless.
No, that's okay. I got it.
You got it. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I was just asking, basically, if you guys had any clue on where they were going.
I tell you what, I wish I did, because I'll be all in, and I'll have to let you know so that you know as well.
I got you.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. All right. Lisa, hey, you can unmute.
Hi.
Hey.
This is Alyssa. Yeah.
Alyssa. And I'm sorry, I mispronounced your name.
No worries. So I was just one of those that was contacted with that potential scam. I did not do anything.
Okay.
And I have followed Jester for years, and I would never have done it. But the thing that I would just want to say for those who have not been contacted yet is that, like, this person was pretending to be you, and I don't know you. I don't know your personality. I don't know anything about you, other than Jester, singing your praises. And, but this person, he had Freedom Fighter, he had TN, he had your fire sign, he had, and your exact logo. So that's what I want to say is the only reason I even interchanged with this person at all was because everything looked identical. I was, and he was on both rooms. I didn't contact him in one of the rooms, and then he was in another room, and he's asking me again, when did you join this group? So anyway, I didn't do anything, and I never had heard of this QFS. Good. But then because I'm new to this whole format, I just thought maybe I had missed something. That's the only reason I was asking him questions. I was like, wow, maybe. And I said, well, I'm not doing anything until I talk to Jester. I'm not doing anything He's like, we got to do this quick. You only have 3 minutes. It's about to go down.
Lord, I'm
Anyway,
so
I'm
glad
just
I'm so glad your antennas are up, and thank you so much for sharing that so that other people can learn. These scammers have been relentless lately.
And it looks identical. So that's the
Yes,
thing. So
they have literally mirrored our accounts, the avatar, the username, everything. It's probably someone in the foreign country in their underwear in a dungeon somewhere with a Wi-Fi signal doing it. I don't know, but they are relentless.
Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to give that FYI for any other potential.
Okay.
People
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You have a great night. Thank you.
All right. You too. Miss Priss, you can unmute, young lady.
Hello, fellas. How are y'all tonight?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I just wanted to make a comment on Lady Faith's question.
Mm-hmm.
She, from what I heard, the way she described opening this wallet, I'm pretty sure she was talking about a crypto wallet, not a QFS wallet. And as long as she has a legitimate, secure wallet, she's okay. Correct?
Right. Yes, if it's a legitimate, but I don't even know the name and specifics of it, and definitely wouldn't want to get into that open discussion on a call here either.
Right.
With her information.
I'm pretty sure from the way she described what she did, putting one token in, pretty sure she was talking about crypto and not QFS.
Okay. Yeah.
That reminds me of something that the person that told me that they had been approached by these folks had said, and they spin off the QFS scenario here as the salient point for what they're offering to sell you, because it sounds good because, and I don't know how they did this, Freedom. Quite frankly, it's kind of interesting that they decided to do it this way, but it's something that we could very well be interested in helping the people get if it were available. I'm just saying, it sounds like a good deal. And here we are coming in the background. Now, quite frankly, I think everybody here is probably a little more astute than your average ding dong out there, and I hope they would notice that we never say anything about this on any of the calls or anything. So stay away from it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, folks, we would never DM you offering or suggesting to offer anything related to some wallets, crypto wallets or anything. And definitely wouldn't send you a message asking you, how long have you been in the room? We're admins. We can look it up ourselves in the back. We don't need to. That's not anything we wouldn't. And it's in Jester. It's always the same question. How long have you been in the room? That's the first question they ask people. It's like it's a computer. They're probably on the call now.
I think it has something to do with their scenario, Freedom. I think if they haven't been involved in the room that long, they're probably a bigger chance of hawking them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They're easier target. Yeah, good point.
If somebody's been there all along with us, then they're going to have a better idea to stay away from that thing.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. So just be aware, folks. We would never DM you suggesting in any way, shape, or form about some crypto wallet or anything of that. No, that's not what we do. That's not our thing. So just please be careful. All right. Chica, you can unmute.
Oh, okay.
Hey there.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
I own and hold XRP, and I can see the value in XRP. It's 57 cents. Brad Garlinghouse is out there saying, they're the next big deal. And he's sitting in on all these different meetings that only those that are making moves can sit in on. So I can see how XRP being 57 cents could be like getting in on Google at the bottom, at the beginning of Google or Amazon
right.
But where is the value in Bitcoin? How much further is it going to go? You know what I'm saying? That's my question.
So, how much further will any asset go?
Sorry.
Based, how much further would any asset go? I mean, because if we compare, Brad Garringhouse of Ripple in meetings with these folks, what about a bigger CEO, billionaire named Donald Trump, who's doing the same thing, but related to Bitcoin?
Yeah, but it seems like Donald Trump just got on that Bitcoin train, because like William was saying, he wasn't for Bitcoin before. So again, I want to know, basically, do you see Bitcoin at $1 million coin?
Okay, I love that question. I don't, and don't take this the wrong way. It's just the truth. I don't care. I don't care what Bitcoin will be worth. It's the use and the use case scenario of what it's used for, not the price of it.
But as an investor,
have you invested in Bitcoin?
No.
Are you an investor?
No, but I'm saying, as a potential investor in the future, I want to know some information so that before I get invested in it, I want to make sure.
Go ahead, Jester.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you think Bitcoin will reach $1 million?
I think it could be, but I'm not sure. I mean, if
nobody knows. But let me ask you the next question. If you think that's the case, why haven't you got even a little piece of Bitcoin yet?
Because I like XRP.
Well, but here's the thing. I get what you're saying. Don't get me wrong, but there's a case to be made to, if you believe these things, that you should diversify into them and move it around a little bit, because you're trying to pick. Okay, you're trying to pick something that makes you biggest bang for your buck or whatever, and gets you the biggest return on investment. But you're not looking at the value sum obvious, and you're looking at XRP. What do you think that's going to be worth? $10, $100?
Oh, I mean, I hope a lot more if it's going to be worldwide.
Maybe. Are you going to sell it?
Not yet.
Okay, here's the thing.
Not anytime soon.
You're not using it for the store of investment that it is. So at some point in time, the end game is you have to sell it. Yeah. But here's the same thing goes with Bitcoin. If you take what you know now and were to parlay that into $1 million at 75,000 start, let's just say you bought, I don't know, 7,500. Say you bought a tenth of a Bitcoin. Now you got $1 million Bitcoin that's worth $100,000, and you paid $7,500 for it. Why aren't you doing that?
That's a nice investment.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. do you see it going any further up? Is it going to max beyond that 75? You can't tell me that because,
I can tell you it's going to, I can't tell you how much.
No. But, yeah, you make a good point. And you're right. 7,500 isn't a bad investment if you're going to come back at $100,000 in the good.
I was just breaking down the obvious.
Now you said you were going to be nice, right?
This is the nice Jester.
I am being nice.
All right.
And don't forget, Chica.
Oh.
And don't forget. I'm not sure if you were here earlier when I mentioned they're not making any more Bitcoin.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the limit?
Supply and demand.
Supply and demand, beautiful lady. Supply and demand. There's only a limited supply left, never to be made again.
Yeah. Good point.
So, there you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome, young lady. All right. Judy Shady, you can unmute.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I love you all first, and whatever I say, I'm not saying anything mean. I'm a little confused.
Now, when you open a statement saying that, we already know what's coming afterwards. But go ahead.
I'm a little confused because I always thought Bitcoin was the child trafficking coin.
Okay.
Has that changed somewhere?
Where have you seen the proof of that?
It's been said in a lot of different stations.
They say a lot of things, like the dollar's the
Yeah,
same.
I know it. I know we're in a movie. That's why I'm asking. Listen,
it's just like anything else. They say
in this group, not your group, but on Telegram, I want to say 3 years ago, I did a stupid thing, like a stupid person. I gave on Captain Kyle's channel and Whiplash's channel, somebody DM'd me, and I gave him access to a place called Coin Galaxy, and they ripped me off for a lot of stuff. But what I eventually told them is Space Force knows everything. So I don't care where anything goes, because I know we are living in a movie, but I just don't understand, why doing this? You know what I'm saying? I'm confused. I'm having a bad day today, as you can see.
Okay, can I share something with you, my beautiful friend?
I would love you to educate me.
Okay. What I would like to share with you is you don't. First off, you're not stupid. You're smarter, a lot smarter, more intelligent than you give yourself credit for. Why I say that? Because you are questioning certain things, and what you've been through has rightfully so gotten you to the point where now you question a lot, and you should.
Listen, I question when I get up out of my bed in the morning.
I believe it. I believe it.
I'm living in a timeline that I don't like.
I understand. But you are a very special human being.
Thank you for that.
God.
I know I am. I am special.
Right. So with that comes special challenges. Right?
Absolutely. I'm gonna close my mic when you're talking. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No problem. But as a special person, you have special challenges. Those special challenges only prepare you for bigger and greater special moments.
Thank you for that, because you know what? It has been a learning lesson.
And that's what it's for.
Absolutely, and I believe that totally with everything in my being.
There's an old ancient proverb, that not Bible proverb, but ancient proverb, that a very wise man said to me many years ago. He said, "The lessons in life will be repeated until the lessons are learned." The lessons in life will be repeated until the lessons are learned.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So we all go through those moments of learning lessons, painful, and the lessons are so painful. Well, I don't think I ever have been through a easy, soft, feel good lesson. They've all been painful, and that's what you've gone through, and you may be going through some more so now than before, but it's all to prepare you for something greater and something better.
And I think everybody on this channel has been through nothing but painful things, and we're all being woken up as the collective.
Right. That's right.
And the more we speak out, we change the vibration of this planet.
Exactly. And the more you learn from your lessons, your vibrations and your frequency rises as well, and you make a greater impact on people around you, because you can now, whatever you have gone through, your test just prepared you to have a testimony to share with other people.
Beautiful, and that's exactly how I feel. Listen,
so
I started this movement around 9 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was one of the with a group first keyboard warriors.
Okay.
Let me tell you, my mind was blown at least 17 times. The last 2 times were the roughest.
Gotcha.
And I didn't know if I could come back, but I'm stronger than ever.
Because of it. Right. So now utilize that strength and that knowledge and experience you got from it, and make more intelligent decisions, unlike the stupid ones you said you made. But you'll be fine. Just stick with us.
Thank you for that, because I know my life is not about money.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I gave away everything that I owned.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it away. I gave my house away. I gave everything away. I live like everybody else, depending on the government, because I know the government is coming.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But money is not going to change my heart or change me.
Right.
I just want to live in truth.
Mm-hmm. In peace.
And I thank you for helping me along the way with this. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Because
you're welcome.
We'll never stop learning.
Exactly. The lessons never, they don't end. And even when we transition and we leave this earth plane, we go to other lessons in higher dimensions, and it just continues. Just the part of the existence of our souls. The lessons never stop.
Thank you.
So
I love you so much, and I love everybody.
Love you too, my beautiful. All right, beautiful. We love you too. All right. Any more questions before we kind of went over our time frame, Jester, and sorry about that. I know you're ready. I know it's time for us to get some rest. All right, beautiful folks. If we don't have any more,
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, you good to go, my good man?
No, I'm with you. Whatever you decide, my friend.
All right.
I'm tired, and I know you are. You've been blessed. Yeah, I know you're tired.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get some. If nobody else got any other questions, then we ought to just go to sleep, man.
All right. Excellent. Don't forget, folks. Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. The Goldilocks QFS Dialogues, and Jester in his room, of course, at 8 Eastern p.m. to 11. and then next Thursday as well, and then next Thursday with Higher Learning with Anastasia at 9 Eastern, and the topic is going to be on Jesus Christ. All right, beautiful folks, we love you. We appreciate you. Everyone, have a good night. Take care.
All right.
Take care, brother. Bye-bye.
Hey, I'd like to see a guy question for a change.
Maybe next Saturday. All right, take care. All right.
Hey, boy. Bye. Good stuff now.